What's up, SE Nation? Being part of the sales team has its perks. I mean, sure, you have to manage your account managers, do all the heavy lifting, and then get no credit. What was I talking about? Being part of the sales team has a lot of perks. Before I became a sales engineer, there weren't that many perks that I can think of as a support engineer. I mean, sure, I was able to carry a pager once every 4 or 6 weeks, depending on the rotation, and you get paid for carrying the pager, but also you get called on that pager. We call it a pager. It was actually an old phone, flip phone. So there was risk associated to that perk. As I got into sales, the perks almost expanded exponentially. It was fun. What I'm going to talk about today, the perks, are not necessarily only for salespeople. Other people in other roles can have them, but sales can have a lot of them together. Usually it's 1 or 2 here or there. Now for sales, it explodes. For this video, I'm dividing it into 2 parts. The first part are the perks that you're given by a company, and the second part is the perks of being in a sales engineering role, how it could possibly affect your life, if you will. So let's start with the company perks. The first one I can think of is transportation. The first company I worked for, they gave us car allowance, which was around 5,400 Canadian, don't get too excited. And it was taxable. We were getting paid bi-weekly, so I mean, it could be a portion of a loan payment on a car if you want to buy a new car, or if you put it together, it could be used for car maintenance, which is what it's for, really. It's for the individual to be able to maintain their car, because we use our car to drive to customers. I mean, if you're an inside sales engineer, you're not going to get that perk. But if you're a field sales engineer, and you're going to customer sites, you will need to drive there. So you get some car allowance in some companies. In addition to the car allowance, we were given car mileage, and that's usually common for a lot of companies. So the car allowance may or may not be there, but car mileage, where you get paid 50 cents for every kilometer or mile that you drive, that's there. So you need to track your car mileage. I track it using Google Timeline, which is fairly easy. Others, I've heard of people using Mile IQ. I tried to use it, didn't really work for me. That money covers usually the gas, and you can put money aside, a little bit aside, for car maintenance, or at least it used to cover the gas. I'm not so sure right now. I'm not driving as much, luckily. Some companies also give company cars. The current company that I work for selectively gives company cars to those who are going to drive a lot, because they're actually saving money than paying people car mileage. So they give them a car. Usually it's either a Ford or a Chevrolet or whatever company that has a deal for a fleet. So they're not really the nicest car. They're not really the nicest car. They're usable, which is good. It's a free car. I don't know what you're complaining about. And now if you fly a lot as a sales engineer, which hopefully is reduced, I don't know, depending on the way you think. It's reduced right now due to COVID, and also due to how expensive it is to actually travel. You get to use your frequent flyer miles. And I mean, collect frequent flyer miles that you can, it's hard to say, frequent flyer miles, that you can then use on your family if you choose to do it. I know one guy, he used to, I'm not sure which organization, which airline he used to go with, but at one point, because he flew too much, he was able to take his wife for free on every trip. Some say it's a perk. I'll leave that to you to judge. The second perk, I mean, I've mentioned a few, but the second category of perk is gadgets. I mean, we get the latest phones, latest when we buy it. We get the most advanced computers. We get a lot of stuff. Like, I have a standing desk that my company paid for, 38-inch curved screen. We get secondary screens, whatever your company is generous enough to provide. Some companies are more generous than others, but in a lot of cases we do get a lot of gadgets. Something that I found useful, which was fun for me, is being able to bring home lab equipment. And again, I'm in networking, so that could work for people in networking and IT. SaaS, maybe not so much, but I do have a server that I brought home that I can use and play around with. They paid for my VMware workstation so that I can actually run VMware workstation on my computer, install VMs on my computer, and play around with it. And you use it for work, but you can also use it for fun stuff. Note that the more home equipment or lab equipment you bring home, the more electricity you have to pay. So keep that in mind. Actually, I have a question for folks in the SaaS world. Are there other perks like getting a home lab that you get that I'm not familiar with? So please leave that in the comments below, because I am very curious about that. And while you're there, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, whether you're in SaaS or any other sales engineering role. Whether you want to become just hit the like button and the subscribe button. Anyways, third category of stuff I have as fun stuff, because I couldn't think of an original name. What I mean by fun stuff is you get to do fun stuff. You get to go out to the nicest restaurants, take your customers there. You get to play golf if that's what you enjoy doing. I actually play basketball with my customers, at least some of them. So that's fun for me. I've taken a few out to hockey games. The hockey game wasn't that fun because Ottawa Senators always lose, but in general, it was fun to be around people in a hockey game. Also, I have the option to take out friends to lunches. They're friends from actual customer sites that I've become friends with, and they give me information about what's going on there that will help me do my job better. If you develop friendships within organizations, within customers, you can take them out. You'll have fun having dinner, lunch, whatever it is, and you get a lot of information that you can help your sales team then sell. So it's just fun in general. And the last perk is obviously you get paid. You get paid a good sum of money, which is useful if you want to spend it on stuff or you want to take care of your family, whatever your motivation is. You have the right to have that motivation. There's high salary, commission, RSUs, bonuses. My previous company, we had our on target earning, and if we hit our on target commission or quota, we actually get a bonus, which I thought was weird, but hey, I took that money. And generally speaking, a quick rule of thumb: the closer you are to the customer, the more money you get paid. So salespeople get paid more than SEs because in theory they're closer to the customer, they have more at risk. Sales engineers get paid in a lot of companies more than product managers. Now let's talk about the perks of actually being in the role of sales engineer. The first one that I can think of is having the option to leave my desk. I'm not fixed to one location. I can move, and if I'm bored, if I've been working on a demo for 3 hours and my head is about to explode, I can pack my laptop and just drive over to a customer site and have fun. Or at least I did that before COVID. I used to do that quite a bit, actually. Whenever I needed to take a break, instead of going to the water cooler or watching TV or watching YouTube, I would drive over to the customer site and I'd drum up some business for my salesperson. And before that, I was in support and I was in network design. In support, I had to be in the office. My manager didn't like us being away from the office because we had to go down to the lab and connect to a bunch of stuff. As a network design engineer, I could work from home, but I needed to be in front of my computer if I'm not at a customer site, which is not, it's a flight away. Or because I live in Ottawa, it's at least 2-3 flights. So there is that perk. If your customers are remote, then maybe you can just do a Zoom call with them if you enjoy that. But if they're close by, which a lot of customers are, you can just visit. The second perk is you can tailor the job to fit your personality. If you enjoy working with people, go visit more people. You're still doing your job and you're actually being good at your job. If you enjoy working more on technology, learn the technology and focus on that and enjoy your job that way. But there will have to be a balance at some point where if you like to work with people, you're still going to have to work on technology for a certain period of time. Maybe less, maybe you're a more salesy SE, or if you're into technology, you still have to go out and talk to people. You're a more techie SE. You can find whatever works for you. There isn't one SE fits all. You know what I'm saying. Third perk of being in that role is you expand your network, both internally and externally within your company and outside of your company, obviously. I used to work mainly with teammates as a support engineer or network design. I worked a little bit with my small team. I had some interactions with salespeople, with SEs mainly, not even salespeople. I didn't know what account manager was until I became a sales engineer. I thought sales engineers were salespeople. That's in my brain. But I got to meet a lot more as I became a sales engineer. In my old job as a network design engineer or support engineer, I only talked within my org structure to the director of whatever department I'm in. As a sales engineer, I've talked to senior VPs of sales. I've talked to general managers of companies. I've shook the hand of the CEO. I don't know if that counts, but we were in a small company and he was there. So we had conversations. And that's not something you would have. People that are outside of sales don't get to go to sales kickoff meetings where they could shake the hand of the CEO. Whether that's important to you or not, that's a different story. But the option is there for sales engineers to go and do that. Number 4 is getting a holistic view of a business and of the solutions. If we have solutions within our company that work together, as sales engineers, we get to see that. In support, we don't. Or in network design, we may, but we don't design everything. As sales engineers, we could sell everything, especially as generalist sales engineers. Specialists, different story. But you get to see the entire, like, why would someone buy this product and combine it with that product and then integrate it with the third product? We get to see that as sales engineers. We also get to see why they're buying this product. What prompted them to buy from us, not from the customers? What are their pain points? What is the business looking like? So we get a view of the business as much as we get a view of the technology, a holistic view, not a narrow, specific view, and we're blind to everything else. 5, flexibility. Now, I have to include that. I don't necessarily agree with it anymore. People in almost every role get flexibility in one way, shape, or form. And as sales engineers, it seems it gets less flexible. Sure, you can book some time off to go to the grocery store or go run an errand, but that's every other role as well. So it's not really a perk specific to sales engineering. On the other hand, we're very much tied to what customers need and what salespeople need from us. So it may become less flexible if we don't know how to manage our time. And if you need help with that, check out the SE Hotline. I help people with that. Help people build guardrails around their time. Then the sixth perk of being an SE is it prepares us for life. Sales engineering, if we so choose, prepares us to start our own business, become the CEO of our own business. So many SEs I've talked to have went from sales engineering to CEO, and they're young. They're not 50, 60 years old. They're 25, 30, 35. I'm 37, so that's still young in my opinion. But we get to prepare for that. We get to see the business because of like the 4th point, holistic view of business and problems. It also teaches us to negotiate better. We understand how people think in terms of negotiation. And some of us might have to take a course, but we're more exposed to people negotiating. We've seen that happen. We've seen how our salesperson, hopefully, does the negotiation and if they do it properly or not properly. And the last thing is you learn to say no and control your own life. Before I became a sales engineer, and even for a while as a sales engineer, I didn't know how to say no. If a customer asked for something, I couldn't say no. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. But as you learn, as you grow, sales engineering taught me how to say no. It taught me how to prioritize my work because there's a lot of things that come. It's not just one task where I'm coding something. It's a million tasks where I need to do a million things. So how do you prioritize and execute, as Jocko Willink would say? The last perk of being a sales engineer is tax deductibility. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not a tax person. I'm not an accountant. So check with your own professionals. But the way I see it, sales people and sales engineers have a lot more ability to deduct stuff off of their tax receipt, tax bill than any other role. Just because of the way we drive to customers, the clothes that we have to buy, and all that. Check with a professional in your territory, in your area that knows about your tax code and use that. So that's it. Does your company offer any other perks that I have not spoken of? Do you disagree with any of the perks that I've mentioned? Comment below, let me know, subscribe, like, share, all that. And I will see you next time. So get back to work. Peace.